There are definitely some cultural differences that I have noticed since moving to Bali a few years ago. And today I will tell you a story, something that happened a few years ago that has a few examples of cultural differences in the story. Before I start the story, I want to make clear that of course I'm going to generalize some when I talk about culture. This is also the difference for me coming from Sweden and Bali. And when I tell a story, I want you to try to find the cultural differences, the examples that I'm thinking of in this story, because I'm not gonna tell them while I'll tell the story. I'm gonna tell it in the end, and let's see if we think about the same differences in the culture. I might add like 1 or 2 photos, but if you want to put your phone down and just listen and try to find the examples of cultural difference, feel free to just put the phone down and listen to the story. This story took place a few years ago. At that time, I had been dating Tom for about 1.5 years. During the first year, I went a lot back and forth between Bali and Sweden. So at that time, I didn't really know Tom's family that well. I would say that we knew of each other, but we didn't know each other, if that makes sense. But during this time, it was actually Tom's birthday, and it was his 40th birthday. And Tom had never really cared for his birthday. Actually, when I met him, he told me that he was 45 years old, and I was just thinking wow, he looked like a very young 45-year-old, you know. And then after dating a few weeks, I found his ID and I started counting, and I realized that Tom is not 45. Tom is actually 38 at that time. So I asked Tom, I was like, why did you say you were 45? And his response was, oh, I don't know, I thought it sounded good. So he never really cared about his birthday or his age. And also for a long time he actually had on Facebook that his birthday was in September and not in July as it is, because honestly he doesn't really know when his birthday is. But anyway, this year was his 40th birthday, so I felt like I wanted to do something a bit more special. So the plan was that my friend Mimi, who was here visiting at that time, she was gonna tell Tom on his birthday that she wanted to go and look in some stores, and asked him to drive her because she wasn't comfortable driving alone on the scooter. So the plan was that he was gonna take her to look at some stores, and while they were away, some family and friends was gonna come to our place, and then they would come back and we would have a surprise party for him. So I contacted a lot of his friends and family, and I told them about the plan. I told them you can come here at 7, and then they will come at 7:15, and when they come back we will surprise them. And everyone was super positive. Everyone was like, yes, I will come, yes, yes, yes. So I mean, I was excited. I was really looking forward to it, and I was a bit nervous also, because you never know if he would like it or not, because it's not really his thing to do a big celebration. But I mean, I was excited and I thought it was gonna be super nice. So Mimi goes with Tom, it's time, and they go to look at some stores. That time is getting closer to 7, and also at that time we were a few people here, because as some of you know, we do rent out a few of the rooms that we have, the extra rooms. So there was a few other Westerners staying here, but we were waiting for the rest of friends and family to come, and the time is 7 and no one is here. The time is 7:05, no one is here. 7:10, no one is here. 7:15, no one is here. So of course I'm getting very, very stressed, and I get it also because they had never, at this time, they had never been to our place. So I get it that they might have been a bit shy to come here. But I was getting stressed, and I was messaging Mimi, can you stall him? So she was asking to go around many shops, and like trying on clothes really slow, and he was getting a bit suspicious. And I was of course also messaging like the friends and family, and some of them were answering and some of them were like, yeah, I'm gonna come later. So I was getting stressed, and after a while I just realized like I have to give up and let them come home. So they come home, and well, the surprise is, I guess, nothing. Because it was just us here, the people that live here, you know, and they come home, and he knows by this, you know, that something is up. And I mean, we have the cake, we surprise him, I tell him like, oh, some family and friends are probably gonna come. And after a while, some family and friends start to come here. And as Westerners, we're sitting like around the table, one of these tables, and we put a few tables together so everyone could join around the table and like sit around the table together, you know. So we say when everyone comes, we're like, oh, come and sit down, have a drink, you know, come and sit. And it was a bit awkward because it was like the local family and friends, they like sat on the ground, we sat on the table. And yeah, it was a bit awkward to begin with. But after a while, like, we had the cake, we had a few drinks, and in the end everyone like started to relax. And by the end of the night, like, I went to bed and people were still like hanging out and having a great time. So I mean, in the end, the night was great and it was so much fun. But yeah, there's definitely a few cultural differences in this story that I'm thinking of. I'm thinking about 4 cultural differences. Let me know in the comment which one you thought about and like how many. So the first one that is, for me, is a cultural difference is about the birthday. So here I experience people not caring about their birthday more than in Sweden. Like, in Sweden, a birthday is a bigger deal. And I mean, of course, this is not like everyone in Bali or everyone in Sweden, but in general. One thing also, and this is something that I'm not sure of, but I've heard that like older people, like Tom, let's call him older person. I mean, he's 42 now, almost 43. When he was born, like at home, and they didn't get the birth certificate like right away, I've heard that it's common to just like put any date close, like around the correct time. And therefore, many people have the date like the 1st of the month or the last of the month. Tom has the 1st of the month. And I mean, I don't know if this is true, but someone told me this, and yeah, maybe it's true. And I mean, of course, the birthday is not as important if it's not even correct, you know. So yeah, for me, that is one cultural difference that I've seen. The second one is being polite. So here in Bali, I, in general, feel that people are very, very polite. And I love it, but it also definitely makes me frustrated sometimes. I mean, of course, I don't know if this was the reason, but I think this was the reason. Because sometimes I feel like someone tells me yes because they just don't want to say no, because they feel it would be rude if they said no. And I'm not sure if that's always the case. It feels like that is the case. For example, this time, like, everyone said yes. It wasn't anyone that said no, but maybe 30% came, you know. So I think some of them just wanted to say yes because they wanted to be positive and be like, that's a great idea, and they didn't want to say no to be rude. But I mean, it's so different with my culture, because in my culture it's more rude not to show up, you know. And I guess also connected to birthday not being so important. Third thing is time. And obviously in this case, coming on time was not important for people. In Sweden, it's so important to be on time. I used to work with like a recruitment company that focused on immigrants, and they always said that they always told people before they go to an interview that, like, if you're gonna be a few minutes late, you have to send a message telling the person you're a few minutes late, even if it's just a few minutes. Because in Sweden, if you don't send a message telling you will be late, it means you're disrespectful towards that person's time, even if it's just a few minutes. So, and here in Bali, I mean, there's a reason why there's a saying called Bali time, which just means It can be in 15 minutes, it can be in 2 hours, it can be tomorrow, you doesn't know, you know. The fourth and last one, and let me know if you also noticed all of these that I've already mentioned, but the last one, sitting around the table. So this has actually happened to me a few times after moving here, because I'm so used to, you know, sitting around dinner table, you eat dinner together, you talk about your day. And I've tried a few times here to like gather people around the table, and it's not always gone well. And after a while I just realized I kind of have to let it go. Here is more like you take your food, you sit wherever you want to, and then you eat your food, you know. It's not a big deal to like have to sit together and like talk with each other, which can also be super nice, but I do also like to sit around the table sometimes and eat together. So yeah, all of it is pros and cons, you know, and again, when I talk about this, I definitely generalize many things. But yeah, that's the cultural differences that I've found here in Bali. So let me know in the comments if those were the one you thought it was gonna be, and which one, if you found someone else that I didn't think about or that I haven't thought about. Comment and like, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.